Luther Wems crouched behind the remnants of a crumbling wall, his breath steady, ears attuned to the unsettling silence that had enveloped the once bustling neighborhood. The distant moans of the undead were a constant reminder of the world's new reality, but it was the sudden, sharp cry that pierced the air and seized his attention. Without hesitation, Luther sprinted toward the sound, weaving through abandoned vehicles and debris. Rounding a corner, he spotted a woman and a young boy backed against a dilapidated storefront, terror etched across their faces. A lone zombie, its decaying form lurching forward, had them cornered. Drawing his machete, Luther closed the distance swiftly. With a precise swing, he cleaved the creature's skull, the body collapsing instantly. He turned to the pair, offering a reassuring nod. "Are you both all right?" he asked, his voice calm yet urgent. The woman, clutching the boy tightly, nodded shakily. "I think so. I'm Sarah, and this is my son, Harrison." Luther's eyes shifted to Harrison, noting the boy's pallor and the way he cradled his arm. "You're hurt. Let me see." Reluctantly, Harrison extended his arm, revealing a fresh bite mark oozing blood. Sarah gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. No, this can't be happening," she whispered, tears welling up. Luther's jaw tightened. He had witnessed the progression before. The fever, the confusion, and the inevitable turn. Time was now their enemy. "We need to move," he said firmly. "There's a safe house nearby where we can tend to his wound and figure out our next steps." Sarah hesitated, torn between hope and despair, but finally nodded. "Lead the way." As they made their way through the desolate streets, Luther couldn't shake the weight of what lay ahead. The bite was a death sentence, and soon, they would have to confront the harsh reality of Harrison's fate. But for now, they pressed on, clinging to the fragile thread of survival in a world that had become unrecognizable. Luther Wems led Sarah and her son, Harrison, through the desolate streets, their footsteps echoing against the hollow silence of the abandoned city. After what felt like hours, they reached a small, nondescript building, its windows boarded up, but the structure intact. Luther pushed open the heavy door, ushering them into the dimly lit interior. "This place should keep us safe for the night," he said, his voice low. Inside, the air was stale, carrying the scent of dust and disuse. They settled in a corner, using old blankets and discarded cushions to create a semblance of comfort. Harrison, pale and trembling, clung to his mother, his breaths shallow and rapid. As the hours passed, Harrison's condition worsened. His skin grew clammy, and a high fever set in, causing him to shiver uncontrollably. He drifted in and out of consciousness, his eyes glassy and unfocused. "He's burning up," Sarah murmured, pressing a cool cloth to her son's forehead. "What are we going to do?" Luther's expression was grim. He had seen these symptoms before. The rapid onset of fever, the delirium, it was only a matter of time before the infection took hold completely. "We need to be prepared," he said quietly, avoiding her gaze. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she cradled Harrison's hand. "There has to be something we can do." Suddenly, Harrison's body convulsed, his back arching off the floor. His eyes snapped open, now clouded with a milky film. A guttural growl escaped his lips as he thrashed violently. "Harrison!" Sarah cried, trying to hold him down. Luther pulled her back, his grip firm. "He's turning." Harrison's movements became more erratic, his limbs jerking unnaturally. He snapped his jaws, a primal hunger overtaking him. Sarah's heart shattered as she looked at her son, now a mere shell of the boy she had raised. Her hand trembled as she reached for the knife at her belt, tears streaming down her face. "I can't," she whispered, her voice breaking. Luther placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "If you don't, he'll suffer. And so will we." Choking back sobs, Sarah nodded, her resolve hardening. She knelt beside Harrison, her hands shaking as she positioned the blade over his temple. "I love you, my sweet boy," she whispered, pressing a kiss to his forehead. With a swift, decisive motion, she drove the knife into his brain, ending his suffering instantly. Harrison's body went limp, the tension draining away. Sarah collapsed beside him, her cries echoing through the empty refuge. Luther stood silently, giving her the space to grieve, the weight of their harsh reality settling heavily upon them both. Luther knelt beside Sarah, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder as she wept over Harrison's lifeless body. "It's going to be okay, Sarah," he murmured, his voice gentle yet firm. She lifted her tear-streaked face, eyes hollow with grief. "Okay," she echoed bitterly. "We no longer have that luxury, Luther." He sighed, knowing her words held a painful truth. The world they once knew was gone, replaced by a relentless struggle for survival. "We need to keep moving," he said softly. "Find supplies, secure this place." Sarah nodded numbly, her gaze fixed on the floor. Luther rose and began searching the building, hoping to find anything that could aid them. In a back room, he stumbled upon a locked cabinet. With a few forceful tugs, the rusted door gave way, revealing a small arsenal, a rifle, a handgun, and a combat knife. The weapons were old but appeared functional. He returned to Sarah, laying the firearms on a dusty table. These might come in handy, he said, attempting a reassuring smile. She glanced at the weapons, her expression unreadable. Will it ever end, Luther? He didn't have an answer. Instead, he handed her the handgun, keeping the rifle for himself. Let's be prepared for whatever comes next. Luther met Sarah's gaze, the weight of her question hanging heavily between them. His expression was solemn as he replied, "No. This is life now, once our world. We must adapt and continue to survive for however long that will be." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, understanding the harsh reality they faced.